Germany is a key country for Afghanistan in terms of reconstruction and their engagement in the reconstruction of the country. My job as ambassador is to expand, to deepen this very historical, political, and diplomatic relations between these two countries. We forget that during the time that Afghanistan was invaded by Soviet Union, 1.5 million Afghans died to claim their liberty, to fight against communism. And once communism was defeated, I think that brought about changes not only in Afghanistan that Soviet were defeated, but also it impacted Europe. When we are talking about the fall of Berlin Wall, I think it is connected with Afghanistan. Unfortunately, the news that we are exposed to about Afghanistan is very dark and not very optimistic. What is left out of the media is the hopes and joy of the ordinary Afghans for a better future, for a better tomorrow for their children. What I also would like to emphasize that there's no doubt that when we are exposed to explosions, to burning of schools, or to suicide attacks, they are realities of Afghanistan. But I would like to reiterate that there are also happy stories, building of a hospital, of a clinic, of a school, bridge for ordinary Afghans that we don't hear or exposed about. For example, if you ask any Afghan adults what are some of their wishes, the only thing that they really seek is the opportunity for their children to go to school. And across the country, government is not in a position in terms of material resources to make available school educational resources. There are stories after stories that ordinary people in different parts of the country, they allocate their very limited space, a piece of land, and they build schools in order for their children to have the opportunity to go to school. Women and men have equal rights before law, or the forced marriages in the Constitution is forbidden. It is forbidden in an Islamic law, in Sharia, and in the constitutions. For example, violence against women. These are some of the laws that Afghanistan is trying to protect the rights of women. However, the government constitution still needs to be supported so they are in the position to enforce these laws. And for that, for example, inside the country, we need more support of the international community for civil reconstruction of the country. And what Afghanistan needs is a unified, coherent, and coordinated strategy of reconstruction, something like a Marshall Plan, that the international community, among themselves, there have to be more coordination among the international community and the parties that are involved, but coordination also with Afghan government. In a small village, a school is built by one country, part of the road by another country, a clinic by a third country. We would like, and this is the wish of Afghan government, that we should have a strategy, a unified strategy, and it will be more efficient. The resources will be efficient. It will be more constructive. So coordination is something we need. And the other issue is that we have to know that Afghanistan is a poor country. It has always been a poor country. And it's a country that more than 70% of its population live in the rural sector, that we should support more agricultural projects in the country, irrigation projects in the country, microcredit for the farmers, to make people self-reliant. And unfortunately, for the past years, there's been far more fixation on Kabul. I think crime, the rate of crime, unemployment, poverty, these are really the seeds of frustration for millions of Afghans. And peace is just not through military engagements and mission. That peace is also to have the population satisfied, happy, and hopeful, that we don't lose the hopes of the ordinary Afghans. That there's so much talk about President-elect Obama sending more troops to Afghanistan. That doesn't mean that it will be only engage in military actions, but like Germans in the north, they will be engaged more in PRT or provincial reconstruction teams, that they will work in welfare of a village, that they will build roads, bridges, schools, clinics, hospitals, hopefully bring about some factories there to provide jobs for people. Because with empty stomachs, you have no choice to turn to whoever provides you some means of survival. Last year, we had 70,000 Afghans who did their abitur or graduated from high school. And Afghanistan's higher education was in a position to absorb only 35,000 of them in 12 universities. What happens with the remaining 35,000? By 2010, we will have 100,000 Afghan students who are without any vision, without any perspective in their lives. So I plead the international community to provide technical schools, Berufsschulen, or vocational schools, to provide some opportunities for these young Afghans to learn the basic skills to become good plumbers, to become carpenters, to become electricians, because that's what the country needs. I think the incidents in Mumbai is a proof of the fact that terrorism is not confined to Afghanistan. In a globalized world, that we conceive of a world, not our state, as isolated political entities, that we have become highly interdependent and highly interrelated and interconnected. In today's world, terrorist activities doesn't have borders. I think the incidents, the tragic incidences that took place in New York, in Madrid, in England, now in India, that should tell us that terrorism is not confined to Afghanistan borders. And this is what the Afghan government has been saying, that we need to deal with terrorism not only in Afghanistan, and we are dealing in Afghanistan with outcome of terrorism. If we leave Afghanistan, that in itself means that we couldn't cope with terrorism or with Taliban. Our withdrawal means that we failed our mission.